In the United States, the 4th of July, or Independence Day, is a major holiday. People love to barbecue, spend time with family, and of course, take to the streets and shoot off fireworks. For days and days before and after the holiday, you can hear people shooting off fireworks, even if it's against the law. In my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri, nothing spells 4th of July like Fair St. Louis, which is basically our version of a state fair. Thousands gather downtown for concerts, entertainment, food, fireworks, and alcohol. In this week's episode, I'm going to talk about a people-watching session I had all the way back in 2005. This is an oldie but a goodie. I'm Michael Laron, and this is the Writer's Journey podcast, where you get a window into the life of a working science fiction and fantasy author. I'm on a mission to go from nobody to bestseller, and I'm documenting every step of the way. Tune in every week as I share my progress and discover what inspires my books and how I write them. You can find the show notes for today's episode at michaellaron.com/podcast. This week, I'm reading a page from my writer's sketchbook. Hello and welcome to episode 19 of the podcast. In this week's sketchbook episode, which may be my oldest dated sketchbook entry yet, I wanted to talk about one of the most memorable 4th of July holidays I've ever had. The year was 2005. I had a crew of friends and we did just about everything together. We played in jazz band together, we were in marching band, we were in regular band, we volunteered together with the American Red Cross for community service, and we just generally hung out all the time on the weekends. One of my friends found out that the Black Eyed Peas were playing at the fair, so we decided to go see them. That year, the fair was downtown on the riverfront of the Mississippi River under the Gateway Arch. So if you've ever seen St. Louis in pictures or been there yourself, you can imagine how cool it would have been to be among thousands of people sitting on the grass under the arch, watching the river flow by and the Black Eyed Peas singing their greatest hits. We drive into downtown St. Louis, and the buildings rise all around us as we fight traffic and rivers of pedestrians in order to find a parking garage. I'm the lucky one driving, and my knuckles are practically white as I park the car on the top floor of a parking garage. Being teenage boys, we take the stairs, joking and laughing several blocks all the way down to the St. Louis Gateway Arch. There are people everywhere, drinking beer, smoking, and chatting. Underneath the arch is a giant stage, yet we can hardly see it because we're so far back. The sun is bright in the sky, spinning sequins off the brown water of the Mississippi River. The sky is endlessly blue, and it's so bright that I wish I'd brought sunglasses. I want to eat something, but I don't have any more money, so I can't. I'd use my paycheck from my job to pay for gas to and from the fair. My stomach rumbles. We're sitting on a concrete wall, and it's hot, sweltering hot and humid, only in the way that St. Louis weather can be. Not even the breeze coming off the river can cool us down. There's this game we like to play. It's a people-watching game. Each of us pick the most interesting person in sight. We talk about that person's story and find a good laugh about it. Various acts take the stage. They play entire sets. And of course, they keep the Black Eyed Peas until the end. So after the 5th or 6th act, the sun is lower in the sky, and the first hint of night appears in the clouds. The skyscrapers start to blink on. The Black Eyed Peas take the stage, and everyone erupts into applause as they sing their hits. They put on a pretty good concert. Not memorable, but definitely not bad. Still, I'm hungry. The concert ends and fireworks erupt over the river. Brilliant bursts of red, blue, and purple. They fill the sky and everyone applauds as music plays. At this point, it's around 9 or 10 o'clock, and we're tired. We've got curfew to make too. We navigate through the crowds of people making their way out of the park. We make it back to my car, and as I pull out of the parking garage, we run into trouble. Big trouble. Traffic is backed up for miles. Now, traffic in St. Louis is a normal thing. It usually takes 30 minutes to 45 minutes one way to get anywhere in good traffic. But this traffic jam is the worst I've ever seen. All over, cars are spilling out of parking garages. People are honking aggressively at each other. My stomach rumbles again, and my eyes fall down to my dashboard. I've only got a half a tank of gas at best. We sit in traffic for hours, listening to all the angry people shouting out of their cars. There's no accident, no holdup, just the natural result of thousands of people crowding into a small area on a Saturday night holiday. I have to call my grandmother to tell her I'll be late. I don't know my way around downtown very well, and smartphones hadn't been invented yet, so imagine me with a printout from MapQuest with step-by-step directions, consulting it to find out where to turn next. My friends and I are exhausted, tired, but there's so many people walking on the street that we start to play our people-watching game again. There's one in particular that catches our eye. We're sitting at a corner, and a bunch of pedestrians pass by on the sidewalk. Among them is a middle-aged black man in a bright yellow suit and a pimp hat. Seriously, the suit is as yellow as a banana. He wears sunglasses, has an immaculate Bible under his arm. He wears shiny brown shoes with wingtips. He's strutting down the street. We watch him go down the street, and randomly, he shouts something about everyone needing to find Jesus, and then he disappears around a corner. My friends and I all look at each other, and then we start cracking up. I hope you liked that one. I didn't get home that night until around 2 a.m. Oh, and the gentleman I saw in the yellow suit inspired a short story that eventually ended up in my book, Reconciled People. It's called The Book of Cuddy, and it's about a black man who sets up camp on the Las Vegas Strip, trying to convert as many people to Jesus as he can, and then the devil shows up to stop him. Because I kept a description of the man that I saw on the street all the way back in 2005, I was actually able to use that description and some of the details from that night nearly 7 years later in 2012 when I sat down to write The Book of Cuddy. That's how valuable my sketchbook has been to me all these years. Thanks for joining me this week. If you enjoyed the show, here are a couple ways to help a brother out. If you're listening to this on Anchor, favorite the show. If you're listening to this on a podcast app, do me a favor and write me a review and share it with your friends. You can, of course, visit my website and learn more about my work at michaellaron.com. If you have a question, send me a voice message on Anchor and you just might hear it on the show. Next week, I'll be going behind the scenes of my writing process. Until then, I leave you with a quote. A day without sunshine is like, night. Steve Martin.